This is Sonia Luna, CEO and founder of Aviva Spectrum. I wanted to cover the 2018 Cannabis Delivery Service Regulations in a quick overview video. I'm only going to cover some of the key hot areas that will cause your business either to be suspended when it comes to your license or heavy penalties. So let's get into it. Now, when you do get a chance to read the reg, and yes, it's about over 100 pages long, when you get to the delivery service section, you're looking about, I don't know, 15, 20 different pages. By the time you get to those pages, you'll see the word employee used over and over again. Some of you are hiring folks as contractors. In the very beginning of the reg, I'll tell you that the state doesn't really care if you pay them as a contractor or as a part-time or full-time employee. We know how the process starts, right? Somebody calls or they secure an online order. Somebody reviews the order, confirms the patient data and or the fact that the identification of the person putting the order is 21 and over. Somebody packages items to be delivered, and then off it goes to the person to go out for delivery with a invoice either printed or it could be electronic copy. A few things in the reg. Badges. They are expecting you to offer employee badges. It will have not only the photo, but the name of the person, but also some employer information. Also, the invoice itself has to have 9 specific items. I'll just call out a few of them here on this particular session. One is the name and address of the entity putting the order. So in other words, who's the licensee for the cannabis delivery entity, the employee of the person who actually conducted the input process, right? This is the employee that validated the order, the customer data, etc., as well as who's the one that actually is out for delivery. It should have the first name of the individual, but also there's some other important information about dates and timing of this process, not to mention the amounts. And the amounts also include very specific call outs to any fees, taxes, or other charges that you're planning on charging to your patients. Now, the receipt does need a signature, and the record keeping is up to 7 years. Now let's talk about what happens when you're on the road. There are specific areas that I want to call out, and each county is dealing with a very serious problem in the cannabis delivery space, and I'll get into it in just a second right now. The first and foremost is this $3,000 retail limit at all times. So every time there's a vehicle out, okay, and they get pulled over, it is up to the officer's job to look at the retail value of all the items in that vehicle. And if it's over $3,000, you're in a serious violation. Now, what's going to cause problems for accounting and the processing of deliveries is loyalty programs. We all know that certain loyalty programs offer discounts, and they should, right? It's to keep our clients and our patients happy and loyal to our brand and our service. Now, with those discounts, again, going with the scenario that if your vehicle were to get pulled over, they're going to look at the invoice and they're going to actually look for the retail value of each of those items, even if it's a discounted, practically free item to your patients. I also want to stress the importance of returns. I realize the industry typically rarely sees returns. I understand that. However, imagine you and your staff have no process or procedures about, well, what happens when the patient gets an edible and they clearly decided that they could not have that edible based on certain things. It could be taste preferences, it could be, I don't know, quantity, so on and so forth. This industry needs to start documenting what is the process, so that way if there could be a scenario where there is a $3,000 overage because the driver decided to keep that returned item pick up some more items to go out for orders rather than processing the return, you could be in a serious violation. Also, security and dedicated GPS systems. Now, certain counties have spelled out the various types of hardware in a vehicle. Some counties have not. Now, the state of California says, look, cell phones and tablets are just not going to be sufficient to track your vehicles. We want something that is actually plugged into the car at all times. Now, this could be permanent or it could be temporarily plugged into the car, but regardless, that actual device, you want to inventory that device. That is actually a fixed asset for the company, and your accountant should know how to track it by serial number, by version, because some of these hardware items actually have certain types of codes, like what version of a hardware item, and they should have warranty information. So this is another great tip for you on how to select a really great accountant. Is they're advising you of what are the elements, if you are going to go down this route for a hardwired tracking device, well, what elements should I keep track of in my fixed assets? So we can help you there in determining what is critical to keep track of. Now I want to talk about our free accounting analysis now that I've covered the major issues and changes in the delivery space for the cannabis industry. Now, we have done this for a few years now. We have an intake process, and it's with me personally. It's a 45-minute discussion. There are very targeted cannabis delivery processes, accounting issues, and questions that we cover. After that intake analysis, myself and my team, we get together and we review the results, but what do we do with it? We might ask for additional documentation, maybe some financial data, just to help us understand what the discussion answers really related to in terms of accounting treatment. But then we also look at benchmarking materials to see, well, where are you compared to some of the peers that we know and consult with, but also industry as a whole. And then finally, we come to reporting. It's usually a great way to talk about some of the areas of improvement for your business, but it's also talking about ideas of how to solve some of these problems. Some of it's going to be dealing with banking. Some of it's going to be about GPS tracking systems. Some of it's going to be about loyalty programs. The bottom line is we want to help you grow your business. We do believe we are the best opportunity advisors out there in the cannabis delivery space. And we hope that we get to meet you in this free accounting analysis that we're offering this year. How do you get it? Email us today at info@avivaspectrum.com. I usually only have 2 monthly appointments for a consultation like this. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of team member power, but we're willing to do it because it's our way to give back. In your subject header, put accounting analysis and write what specifically you're looking to get out of the accounting analysis. Is it ideas about your loyalty program growth? Is it about track and trace software, etc.? We'd be happy to schedule something as soon as we possibly can with you to have that free consultation. Loyalty programs is probably one of the highest commented solutions or areas of improvement that we've seen in the industry. One way we've helped customers is, well, let's talk about how your customer even finds you. Is it through a mobile app, let's say Weed Maps, Leafly, etc.? What specifically is on the menu? Are you using any certain pictures? Are you sharing a story about some of the products behind the scenes that gives the customer an idea of how to bond with the menu items that you currently offer? What type of technology are you using to package and deliver goods to your patients? As well as, okay, the vehicle that you're using. How often are you looking at the radius based on your point that you have to package things, and are you really making the most efficient choices based on time, locale, and patient need while you're conducting a delivery? Lastly, I want to talk about security online. A lot of you have used different websites for different reasons. Part of our analysis looks at security as a whole. Remember, you have to keep patient records and data along with invoicing and other accounting records for 7 years. Having it secure and backed up on a regular basis is imperative. Now, I'll leave you with this final thought in our analysis. We probably come up every time we conduct an intake analysis, we probably come up with anywhere from 3 to 5 different takeaways to actually prove out that current cannabis delivery companies can increase their revenue on a per patient basis greater than 10% by using some of the solutions and techniques that we offer after the intake analysis. So we hope you do take us up on that analysis. And again, it is free and complimentary with me personally, Sonia Luna. Let's connect. We can connect on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way for you to vet out myself and my expertise. And remember, I schedule things twice a month for these complimentary intake analysis. Email me at info@avivaspectrum.com, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.